Ladies and gentlemen, Fire Knight is one of the hardest dungeons to progress early on, but today I'm going to give you a budget team for early game players. What's going on, guys? It's Crodor here, keeping it tanky in Raid Shadow Legends. Today I'm going to introduce you to a squad with only 2 legendaries, and they're both login champs. One of which being the latest login champ, Alice the Wanderer. She is going to be good because she's got a multi-hitter A1 that will place an extra hit if the target has any active skills on cooldown, an AoE A2 that lets you lock out the waves as well as turn meter control the waves and the boss. And then she's got an A3 here that ignores 20% of the target's defense, which is great for the boss once the shield is down. And then she's got a passive that will increase her damage output by 3% for each turn remaining on cooldown. And then her active effect will reset her cooldowns whenever she kills an enemy, once per skill on a 3-turn cooldown. It's sweet. She's got attack in all battles. I've got her blessed with Soul Reap. It's very good for taking down bosses quickly as well as securing kills in arena. Very nice, very handy. Hold up, click the link in the description right now to get a free Uugo as well as 2 more free epic champions as you level up. Here are the steps to get yours. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and claim your first champ. This is an amazing account start to Raid, so click the link and start now. The only other legendary on this squad is going to be Scyldrakes. Scyldrakes is a fantastic healer and reviver, just in case you need it. Fire Knight is all about knocking down the shield, but honestly, with the epics that we're going to be looking at today, that's not going to be a problem, as well as a rare. On the A1, she has turn meter control as well as decreased speed. This is the only move that we care about unless we need an emergency revive on the boss. For the waves, we've got the A2 here that attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 35% chance when booked of placing stun debuff for 1 turn. And then she's got that great revive that's single target with ally protection on them for 2 turns, so that way they don't die immediately after being brought back. And then she's got a fantastic passive that heals all allies by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. Also places an increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. Super nice for topping everybody off, keeping everybody just tanky enough in order to do the jobs that they need to do. Next up on the squad, we've got Deacon Armstrong. He is a fantastic turn meter controller as well as decreased defense and a multi-hitter A1. On the A1, he attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Also places leech debuff with a 50% land rate on each hit. A leech is fantastic for staying alive, just like the Bee Gees said. On the A2, we got AoE drop defense. Very simple, but when it's paired with this time compression, which is effectively a 15% turn meter steal for all allies and then grants an extra turn, he cycles through his abilities very quickly, which makes him very valuable for control and just throughput. He's not going to be doing a lot of damage himself, but he's going to be great for setting up the rest of your team. He's got speed in all battles by 19%, and I've got him awakened with 5-star commanding presence just to boost that aura up a little bit more. I've got him built in Relentless. I think Relentless is a phenomenal set for Deacon because I've had him go through his entire kit 2 or 3 times just through the extra turns on the set and his A3. Let's go to the rare that we're going to be using today, Coldheart. Now, I know it's a void rare, but it's still a rare, so you're very likely to pick one up at some point. It is worth noting that you do not want to build this champion for damage for Fire Knight because she will be too squishy to survive the hits, but she is great for Fire Knight because she's got a 4-time at random A1 with each hit having a 35% chance of placing heal reduction, 100%, so the boss can't heal, and she's attacking 4 times at random on a single target that's just a 4-time hitter A1. Perfect for busting down that shield. On the A2, we got an AoE for the waves that has a chance of placing decreased accuracy and places a poison for 2 turns if the target is under a heal reduction. We turn this off at the boss just so that way we're not taking a chance on doing 1 hit while the shield is up. Then for the A3, we've got Heartseeker, which is an enemy max HP damage dealing skill, which means even if you're not building her for damage, she's still going to do good damage. She also completely depletes the target's turn meter. It's got an extra crit chance. It's a fantastic skill and it hits like a truck. I've got her built with 5-star Phantom Touch. That way she's just got an extra hit towards that shield as well as just a little bit of extra damage. Finally, crucial member of this team, Barrakin the Fat. He is fantastic, very simple epic, but very, very effective. On the A1, he's got attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance when booked of placing decreased defense for 2 turns. On the A2, we got attack one enemy, has a 100% chance of placing HP burn and 2 poison debuffs for 2 turns. Great extra damage on the boss once the shield is down, also great for the waves. And then the skill that we really care about for the boss is right here, Beatdown. Places increased crit rate and crit damage on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Then all of those allies will attack one enemy target. So it's a full team ally attack minus himself, buffed with increased crit rate and crit damage. It's a fantastic skill. The passive, it is worth noting that he will cause your entire team to receive 20% of the damage he takes. Makes him tankier, but it also kind of shoots you in the foot with the rest of the team. But it's not enough to make you worried, especially since we have Syl keeping us topped off there. He also has 5-star commanding presence in order to, again, boost up auras as much as possible. The argument can be made for him to go into cruelty instead, but because he's not joining on his own ally attack, I think it's better to go with commanding presence. I do not have tier 6 masteries on any of these champions that I will be showing today, but if I were to do so, I would go with Helm Smasher on Atlas. I would go War Master on Syl, War Master on Deacon, War Master on Fat Man, and I would go Giant Slayer for Cold Heart. So yeah, that's the squad. Let's go in and I'll show you the preset because there are skill priorities that we currently have right now. So here's the squad. We got Deacon in the lead, get that extra speed. So the important thing to note here is that we turned off the A2 for Cold Heart on the boss. We turned off the Queen Slayer for Alice, and the reason for that is because she's built in Impulse, so she's got a chance to reduce cooldowns, and we want those to go back into the turn meter control A2, and we want her to prioritize the A1 that will help bust down that shield. For Syl, we've got her set to only use the A2 if she's got it off cooldown at the start of the boss fight. Otherwise, we want her to focus on, again, turn meter controlling the boss. Fat Man, we got set up to start with the ally attack as quickly as possible, as well as turning off the ally attack for the second wave. That way, he's sure to have it at the beginning of the fight. So yeah, that's the preset. Let's go in here and see how well it does. Turn on the super raids in order to get a better bang for your buck. And yeah, let's see what this team does. Now, it is worth noting that Alice is our biggest source of damage for the waves, and this stage, stage 20, is bad affinity for her. However, the chances are that the weak hits will not be a big enough issue in order to cause problems. See, we got her turn meter controlling, we got the ally attacks coming in, we got AoEs from Cold Heart, a little bit of damage, but nothing to write home about, but that's okay. She's there to bust down the Fire Knight's shield, and even more importantly, she is there to put up the heal reduction. That way, if the boss does take a turn, he's not going to heal. The waves are going to take a while because nobody here is built for damage except Alice. And again, she's bad affinity, so it's not going to go well for her. See, there's the Relentless set coming in for Deacon. That's what I'm saying. He just went through his entire kit twice. Relentless is fantastic on Deacon. Realistically, anybody who has extra turn mechanics built into their kit on 3-turn cooldowns, you cannot go wrong with Relentless. It is just such a good set. The only one that's better is 9-piece Merciless, but 9-piece Merciless is nigh impossible to get your hands on. So Relentless is game changing. Honestly, my favorite gear set combination in the game is Relentless and Impulse. That way you're getting speed, you're getting extra turns, and you're getting cooldown reduction. Now, that's not very beginner friendly, but it is powerful. I definitely encourage everyone to push for high placements on tournament leaderboards, though, so that way they are getting Relentless gear. It's just such a powerful set that it can't be ignored. 2 minutes for the first wave. Admittedly, that is the problem with Fire Knight. In order to build a good team for the boss, chances are you are not going to have a good team for the waves. But that's okay. We're not worried about current attack. We're just worried about succeeding at clearing this stage. That's all that matters. Whether that's for missions, whether that's for just a regular Fire Knight tournament. For turn attacks, there's always going to be the crazy options. Personally, I prefer the epic Was Tagoar as opposed to Syl if you're confident that nobody is going to die, because Wasgar does just as much healing, if not more, and he has a 4-time hitting A1 as well as counterattack and shields and reflect damage. He's a really solid epic for Fire Knight. Carried me when I was in the early game, which arguably I could still be in the early game, but I'm choosing to look at myself as a low-end mid-game player. You can feel free to disagree with me in the comments if you don't think that's the case. I got Deacon on a Blood Shield ring because I used him for Scarab King for a while, and Blood Shield rings, they will save your life in Scarab. The more of those that you can get, the better you're going to do with that Doom Tower boss. But yeah, we are almost to the boss. Love to see it. Guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this team. Do you think it's very early game friendly? I sat there and I looked at my roster for the longest time. I was like, well, who's going to be accessible and who's still going to be effective? And this was the best team that I could think of, because ally attack is just that strong for Fire Knight. It allows you to do the boss without having to worry about taking hits, especially if you have turn meter control in several of your champions' kits. If you can find somebody with turn meter control on their A1 like Syl, it's fantastic. The key to normal Fire Knight is multi-hit skills and turn meter control. It's honestly simple. It's just hard to find the champions that do that. Again, especially early game. Alright, so we finally got to the boss. 5 minutes. Not the worst time ever. It's not bad at all for early game. See, we got Syl coming in with the A2, Alice coming in with the A1, and yeah, we're just gonna chip away at that shield. Never mind, we're gonna blast it off its hinges with that ally attack. Boom! And see, now we got heal reduction up, and now we're turn meter controlling the boss. This is fantastic. Boom. Honestly, this team is capable of making sure the boss never takes a turn. Yeah, I've had it happen on multiple occasions, and it is very potent. That is one thing I will say that Wasgar doesn't have that Syl does. He doesn't have as good control for the boss. But yeah, we're just chipping down, chipping down. It's a long fight, I realize that, but it is one that is so good to progress early on for Savage gear and regen gear. Regen gear actually has a bigger place in the mid to late game, in my opinion, because once you get those really good pieces, then you can start doing solo champion builds. For example, I have my Stultus Dragonbane built in regen in order to do Nether Spider as well as hard mode dragon. Boom! Just when you thought that the Fire Knight was going to take a turn, think again. This team, I kid you not, is capable of making sure this boss never takes a turn, and it is so good. I think there's actually clan quest that wants you to do that, beating the Fire Knight before it takes a turn, and this team is absolutely capable of doing that with the right RNG. It is so good. There are obviously better teams than this for Fire Knight normal, but I wanted to focus on something that is very accessible for early game players, because I remember how much of a struggle this boss was when I got started. This boss is just a menace to society for the beginning player. Alright, so the boss finally took a turn, but it's not going to matter. It's not going to save him, because literally just powered up Alice's A1 by putting that skill on cooldown. And boom, the shield's back down within less than 30 seconds. Now we're really cooking with gas. Boom. There goes turn meter. There goes even more turn meter. Yeah, so this team has to get a little bit of RNG, admittedly, to keep the boss from taking turns, as well as the whole issue with weak hits. But it is absolutely possible, and it's so fun to do. And honestly, if you can find a way of doing that more consistently, you can absolutely pop Syl out for someone better. Because if the boss never takes a turn, you don't have to worry about anybody dying. So then you could potentially bring a better damage dealer for the waves, or just someone with better turn meter control to make sure that the boss absolutely never takes a turn. It's a hard boss, but it just takes a little bit of strategy. There are plenty of options. Even the starter champion, Ethel, will be helpful with this boss because she's got a triple hitter A1 with weaken as well, so you'll actually chew down the boss even faster. That's one thing that my account sorely lacks, is sources of weaken. Boss gets another turn, no problem. Nobody's taking enough damage to be hurt. Although I'll admit the Farrakhan is not helping with that body block passive. If you can find another ally attacker, I would highly recommend it. He's very solid, but he's a bit of a risk for this boss because you take so much damage away. And boom, there goes the Soul Reap proc, just kissing that boss goodbye. So yeah, there you go, guys. Alice coming in with 1.25 million damage. Coldheart coming in with almost a million without damage gear. That is the power of enemy max HP damage coming through right there. Fantastic. We got a couple of gear pieces. Ooh, speed boots. Nice. And we got HP percentage and speed, but it's a frenzy set, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right, guys. There is my beginner-friendly team to Fire Knight normal. It is worth noting that if you get to hard, this team will fail horrendously because turn meter control does not work on the boss on hard mode. You have to freeze him in order to decrease his turn meter. So don't try this team in hard, but it's solid for normal. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the team. Let me know if it helped you. Again, Fire Knight kicks you in the pants early on, and hopefully this team lessens the burden. Have a great rest of your day. I've been Corridor. Stay tanky.